Welcome to David Alexander Maths Tuition. This is chapter 10b on the exact values of trigonometric ratios. So at GCSE level you probably would have worked out a system to work out the cos of 30, the tan of 60, etc. Here's another way, though this is a method you might not have used at GCSE level, which involves just sketching some triangles, and you might find that when you're doing it at A level you'll just draw like really rough sketches. Again, like, you don't really need to do this because you do have access to your calculator the whole time, but sometimes it's quicker and easier just using the triangles. I personally try to use the triangles as often as I can. So this is a right-angled isosceles triangle with a side length of 1. So if this is 1 and this is 1, then this is going to be the square root of 2, and of course this is 45 degrees. So just remember, it's a triangle, 1, 1, root 2, and again when you're doing it you can just do a really rubbish sketch, 1, 1, root 2, and just know that that is the 45 degree angle. So what is the sine of 45, what is the cos of 45, and what is the tan of 45? So the sine of 45 is the opposite over the hypotenuse, so that is 1 over root 2, or if you want to rationalise the denominator, root 2 over 2. The cos of 45 is the adjacent over the hypotenuse, so 1 over root 2, again exactly the same. And the tan of 45 is the opposite over the adjacent, so 1 over 1, which is 1. By the time you've been doing a lot of trigonometry at A level, hopefully you'll just memorise automatically that the tan of 45 is 1. Okay, so what I've got here is an equilateral triangle with sides of 2, so they're all 2, of course. So this is 2, and the base is 2, but I've split it down the middle, so this is now 1. Now I'm only going to be looking at the left-hand side of it. So if it's an equilateral triangle, this is 60 degrees, and if this has been bisected, then this is 30 degrees. So if the hypotenuse is 2 and the base is 1, 2 squared minus 1 squared, we have root 3. So from this we can work out the sine of 30, the cos of 30, and the tan of 30. So the sine of 30 is the opposite over the hypotenuse, so the sine of 30 is 1/2. The cos of 30 is the adjacent over the hypotenuse, so root 3 over 2, and the tan of 30 is the opposite over the adjacent, so 1 over root 3, or root 3 over 3. We can also work out the sine, cos and tan of 60. So the sine of 60 is the opposite over the hypotenuse, so root 3 over 2. The cos of 60 is the adjacent over the hypotenuse, so 1/2. And the tan of 60 is root 3 over 1, root 3. So sometimes just by doing a really quick sketch, so 1, 2, root 3, and knowing that this is the 60 and this is the 30, can help you quickly work out the cos of 60, tan 60, and 30s of course as well, without having to just go and grab your calculator every time. So what are the exact values of tan 225? So the tan of 225 is going to be the same as the tan of something else. So if I do so here is my cast diagram, 225 degrees, I'm measuring in this direction, so that's 180, so it's going to be another 45 degrees underneath the line. So it's the angle with the x-axis I'm interested in. So the tan of 225 is the same as tan 45. Is it positive or negative though? C-A-S-T. The angle is in the bottom left quadrant where tan is positive. So the tan of 225 is the same as the tan of 45. So what is the tan of 45? So I need to draw my little sketch here. So the equilateral, the right-angled isosceles triangle, 1, 1, root 2. So this is 45 degrees. So it's the opposite over the adjacent. So the tan of 45 equals 1 over 1. So the tan of 45 is 1. So with these questions, all we're doing is we're turning the tan 225, or if it's another question involving sine or cos of a different angle, into one that we know, either a 45 degree angle, a 30 or a 60 degree angle. So sine of 240 degrees, is that the same as the sine of the 30 or a 60? Let's take a look. So there's 180. If I keep going to 240, that means this angle here is 60 degrees. So the sine of 240 is the same as either plus sine 60 or minus sine 60. The angle is in the t quadrant, so sine is negative, so minus the sine of 60. What is the sine of 60? Okay, so here we want the 1 2 root 3 triangle. This is the 60-degree angle here. The sine of 60 is root 3 over 2. So minus sine 60 is simply minus root 3 over 2. What about the cos of 330? So if I'm going 330 degrees anti-clockwise, that means I'm going to have an angle of 30 degrees with the x-axis. So the cos of 30 is the same as the cos of 330 is the same as cos of 30. Is it plus cos 30 or minus cos 30? CAST. The angle is in the C quadrant where C is positive, so it's the same as the cos of 30. What is the value of the cos of 30? Okay, so we're going to be using our 1, 2, root 3 triangle. This is 30 degrees up here. So the cos of 30 is root 3 over 2. So the cos of 330 is root 3 over 2. The tan of 135, again, let's do our cast diagram. That's 180 degrees, so 135 will be somewhere here, meaning we've got 180 take 135, 45 degrees here. So the tan of 135 is the same as the tan of 45, but is it plus tan or minus tan? CAST. The 45 degrees is in the S quadrant, so tan is negative. What is the tan of 45? So for the 45 degrees, we're doing our 1, 1, root 2 triangle. Here's 45 degrees here. We know that the tan of 45 is the opposite over the adjacent, so the tan of 45 is 1, so therefore minus the tan of 45 is going to be minus 1. So the tan of 135 is also minus 1. Cos of negative 300, so it's a negative angle, so we're going the other way around. We're going around in a clockwise direction, and that will generate 60 degrees with the x-axis. So that is the same as either plus or minus the cos of 60. CAST. It's going to be positive cos 60 because it's in the top right quadrant. What is the cos of 60? Let's do our 1, 2, root 3 triangle where this is 60 degrees. So the cos of 60 is the adjacent over the hypotenuse. So the cos of 60 is 1 over 2. So therefore the cos of minus 300 is also 1/2. What's the exact value of sine of 480? Okay, so 360 takes me all the way to here. So that's another 120, so that's 90. So that will generate 30 degrees here with the y-axis, so 60 degrees with the x-axis. So remember, it's the angle with the x-axis that is the angle we're interested in. So the sine of 480 is the same as either the positive sine of 60 or the negative sine 60. CAST. It's in the quadrant where sine is positive, so it's the same as the sine of 60. The sine of 60, let's think what triangle we're using. It's the 1, 2, root 3 triangle. This is the 60 degrees here. So the sine of 60 is opposite over hypotenuse, so the sine of 60 is root 3 over 2. So therefore the sine of 480 is also root 3 over 2.